Welcome to the Antonio Parkinson Project. Today we're asking this question. Is it in the best interest of the child to have both parents equally involved in the child's life? We have a father here with an interesting story on how he was removed from his children's lives. Also, we're talking to an expert. We got the doctor in the building who's going to speak on the effects of lopsided parenting, Angelika. Lastly, we have retired Memphis police officer who has seen it all, and he offers a very interesting perspective, or three perspectives, as a matter of fact, on this whole subject. So don't go anywhere. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be right back. You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project. Welcome back to the Antonio Parkinson Project. You're watching the fastest growing visual podcast in the Memphis market. Let's go, baby. Man, look, a year and 2 months and 6.5 million views later. And Angelika, who used to, be all shy at Kojak when she came onto the camera.
I was shy before.
Yeah, she's changed a little bit. She's seasoned now.
I was shy.
Give it up for my lovely co-host Angelika Jelly Woods in the building. Let's go, baby.
There she goes.
She is. She's hangry.
Y'all, I'm eating my kids.
Yeah, but pull that mic up though while you're over there.
We need a food sponsor. I'm here eating graham crackers. What's going on?
Yeah, we do. In fact, I've been meaning to reach out to Keedron Franklin. Keedron, man, if you're watching this, man, we want to test the food out on the show, man. Pull up, man. Bring us something. Angelika is starving. My stomach is touching my back, even though it doesn't look like it, but it is. Right?
We ain't gonna talk about Nicole, Jesus. I ain't gonna talk about when she's walking here with this.
Right. You know, she already be grouchy. She comes off the ropes grouchy. Yeah, y'all give it up for my DJ. That's my DJ Kojak in the middle. Let's go, baby. DJ Kojak. Oh, this is going to be good. Yeah, hey, Kojak, I want you to scratch it up for our guest 4 times.
4 times.
4 times. Let's go. Hey,
talking about.
Hey, Kojak. Hey, Antonio.
That's what I'm talking
Did you hear that scratch?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh.
I like you, Antonio. I don't like him. I like you. It was something about you when you came to that door.
Hey, Kojak, I heard the scratch.
I heard it too. Turn the volume on.
Okay, we're going to try it again.
Check my ears. Turn the volume on.
Check it again. At the backspin.
In the backspin. You heard that?
I heard it. Antonio, did you hear the scratch?
I heard it.
Oh, there he is. Yeah. There he is.
my brother.
Everybody out there heard the scratch. I heard the scratch. I don't know about Angelika. Angelika's hangry. She can't hear nothing right now.
Not a thing.
But let's do this though. Today we're really asking this question. Is it in the best interest of the child to have both parents involved in their life? Apparently not, according to the state of Tennessee and the Tennessee Bar Association, who pushed back on legislation that I ran this week to make judges start in the middle at 50-50. And that legislation also says it is a rebuttable presumption that it is in the best interest of the child to have both parents involved in their life. Let's run that video, Josh.
You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project.
God gave a child 2 parents, and they need both in most cases for balance. When we as a society remove one of the child's parents from the child's life, we take the child out of his or her natural balance. It is the child's God-given right to have access to both parents whenever possible. We know that there's been a tremendous lobbying effort by the Bar Association, who I respect. Their family court division is against this bill. However, I asked the trial lawyers their thoughts on it. They had no issue. I also called and have spoken to several judges across the state, both rural and urban, from across the state, and every judge that I spoke to said this bill in no way binds their hands in regards to outcomes. In fact, this bill actually frees them up to look at the entire picture that speaks to the best interest of the child. And that's what we're here for. The question is, what is in the best interest of the child? I submit to you that a child has the right to both his or her parents, and that is by far, from the standpoint of the child, is in his or her best interest whenever possible. All right. And to everyone that is watching, I want to see if that makes sense to you. Right. I think that it just makes common sense that whenever it's possible, we have both parents involved in the life of the child. To me, it just makes common sense. But apparently, the Tennessee Bar Association, which is the lawyers across the state of Tennessee, and in their family court division, sees it differently, right? And so we got a little video of their response, or a partial response to this question. So y'all watch this video.
This bill causes significant problems in family law. The presumption that's being put in place will cause detrimental effects to how cases are tried. And we've seen this evidenced in other states, most notably Kentucky, who I've looked up their information because they have it all posted through their administrative offices of the courts. Our fears are that the same thing will happen here that happened in Kentucky, that divorces will decrease, parents will, on both sides, mothers and fathers, will be concerned about divorcing and having another parent have a 50-50 parenting time when they are in situations of abuse.
And it was quite interesting because, man, it was some stuff that was said in that hearing that made you scratch your head.
We would also like to limit reunification camps, which is another thing that they send children to. A reunification camp is they send these children to camps with their abuser. They say that it's a fun wilderness camp. These kids have come out of there saying that they are essentially put into jail cells. They are not allowed food, water, and they have to sleep in their own feces and urine until they say that they have not been abused. Then they have this in recordings and use this in court testimonies. So we would like...
You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project.
But also here we got Antonio Harvey, right? Who is an elementary school principal,
God
right?
bless him.
And so he has an interesting story, and it is actually Antonio Harvey. I had a visit to a school one day, and he was telling me what his situation was, which is the motivation for this legislation. So y'all give it up for Antonio Harvey in the building. Let's go, baby.
Motivation.
Yeah, let's go. So Antonio, tell us your story, man. How did we get here?
All right. So basically, my story is probably a story that you hear a lot about in regards to fathers who are basically equipped to be basically co-parents, but don't have the opportunity. And my story is unique because I'm actually a steward of children. I've been working for 29 years in the educational field as a Memphis-Shelby County school employee. I have spent several years in administration. And then me being able to run a school and taking that school from being a school that was failing to bring it to level 5.
Oh, wow.
I had a lot of experience working with children. And so during the time when I was going through a divorce with my ex-wife, I had petitioned the court for me to actually get joint custody of my children. And so for me, it was a no-brainer. I'm an educator. I know about child psychology. I work with children every day. At the time, working with over 300 plus children every day in the Fraser community. And then being able to support those children in the way in which they were actually changing their life trajectories. And so for me to go into the courtroom and to petition them for that, I felt it was natural. And so as I went to court, I began to see the mechanisms that are actually in control in the family court systems. And so what basically happened was I petitioned the court for joint custody, but I got standard visitation.
Wow.
And so when you think about standard visitation is basically 4 days a month with your children.
You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project.
People think that when they say
4 days a month.
you're getting every other weekend, that's a lot. That's only 4 days a month. And so just imagine.
That's sobering right there.
Yeah.
But
4 days.
you went from 24/7 because you said divorce.
Yes.
You guys had the children in the house together.
Yes.
And then you went from 24/7 to 4 days a month.
4 days a month.
4 days a month out of
Yeah.
30 days. 4
Out of
days.
30
Yeah, you went from
Sometimes 31
24/7 to 4 days. That is
That's
traumatic.
It's
Yes.
traumatic.
My question,
yes, sir.
question is, what was the deciding factor?
So when you think about the court case, they have to think about 15 or 16 different factors that they look at, being the household environment, the
Wait a minute. Before you start naming them factors, I just want to clarify so people understand what he's talking about. Right now, currently under the law, there are 16 factors that they use to determine the best interests of the child. None of which says both parents being involved in the child's life. Okay, but go ahead now.
Yes, sir. So they had 16 different factors, and so as I said before, those factors include the mental well-being of the parents, the financial status of the parents, the household that the parent actually lives in, and things of that nature. And so out of those 16 factors, I really didn't have anything that was against me.
Wow.
I have no criminal record, financially stable, have a consistent career, educated, everything. But what they held against me was that I had a demanding job.
Oh, wow.
And they basically said that my job was too demanding.
Now remind everybody what your job was. One more time.
I'm an educator. And so as an educator, you have weekends off. You have evenings off. You have time off in the summer to work with your children. So it is a demanding job, but it's not a demanding job where you can't work with your family.
Wait a minute, but I think it's important to show this whole picture. You weren't just an educator; you were a principal.
A principal, yes.
So at an elementary school.
At elementary school.
At the time, your children were the same age, around the same age as the children that were in your school.
Yeah, that I was actually working with.
How many children did you have guardianship over during every day as a principal?
So as a principal, I had over 350 some students every day. And so I was just asking for me to actually have stewardship of 2 children, which were my children.
Right.
And so, to me, the scales were not balanced.
Well, and I think this is important to know because I'm visual and I want everybody to see this picture, right? Which is the motivation for the legislation, right? Here is an elementary school principal. Obviously, there's no domestic violence and all this stuff going because he would not be a principal. He would not be in that job, right? Yeah. Now, here is an elementary school principal that has custody and guardianship over 350 kids, 5 days per week. What, 8 hours per day?
8 hours a day.
8 hours a day. How many months out of the year?
10 months out of the year.
Oh, wow.
10 months out of the year. But could only see his own children every other weekend and 2 weeks out of the summer.
You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project.
How is that even fair?
It's not fair. And so that's why we're here today. And really, to be honest with you, my children are now the age of 15 and 13. And so for me to actually be standing here and talking about this and actually fighting for this is really forecasting. Because I'm not fighting just for myself. I'm fighting for people in the future. Because my journey is about to end in regards to me having my kids as a custodial parent. But I feel it's important that we actually support this particular agenda, because when you look at what's going on in the city of Memphis and you look at the trajectory that our youth are going on, and we have been in the status of single parent homes for a long time without adequate co-parenting, and we see the effects. We see the crime. We see the effects of our children in the schools. We see the uprise in mental health issues with our young people. We see the actual physical health of our children now and how it's actually going down. And all those factors relate back to children not having those positive childhood experiences that they need.
I have a question for you. In that moment, did you feel like you failed them as a father?
No, I didn't feel like I failed them, but I actually had a concern. And so my concern was I actually stayed in the marriage probably 3 years longer than what I should have. And I stayed in there because I was scared that I was going to lose access to my children.
We just talked. We listen. We just so we talked about this behind the scenes. I said there's so many people who stay, with the baby mom, their wives, their situations because they want to be in the house with their children, or they're afraid of the repercussions of child support. So either not having access to them or child support, so they kind of play the game. They put other relationships on hold. They put their happiness on hold to be able to have. And that just attests to that. And it's just, I don't know. I would feel some type of way to go around a whole bunch of children. How many hours am I good at math? And I can't see mine, but so much. So I commend you because you can still pour into those children and barely can pour into yours due to the system of only having them 4 times a month. That's ridiculous.
And so for me, it's good you asked that question because I'm a person that oftentimes I look at situations as opportunities. And so when that situation came about, I said to myself, am I going to stay here and waddle in sorrow and pain, or am I going to take this as an opportunity to take my pain and turn it into something productive? And so then I walked out the boat, per se, and I actually began a fatherhood program called Fathers First Memphis.
Oh wow!
And so our program is a program where I actually took what I was doing on a daily basis and put it to use, which is as a principal engaging our community. And one of the biggest pieces that I saw that were being disengaged with fathers. And so I said, let's go out and start engaging our fathers and helping them to understand how important they are in their children's lives, but also giving them an opportunity to actually go into a school environment and actually support their children and also other children. And so just this past year, we adopted 14 schools in the city of Memphis, schools like Valentine Elementary, Evans Elementary, Alcee Elementary, Cherokee, Crump, all these schools. And we're actually in those schools supporting the fathers to help them to actually be more engaged with their children's learning. Awesome. And when you think about the effects of that, these are powerful effects. Because when you think about the science of it and you look at the data, and it says that when children have both parents in the home, especially fathers, then they are more equipped to succeed in school academically, socially, and also emotionally. You have less promiscuity. You have less violence in school, less behavior problems in schools. All these things relate back to having those fathers in the families. And I know we all have heard about the adverse childhood experiences. And so when you think about that piece, one of the first adverse experiences that you may have is the separation of a child from their parent. And so now that's what we're doing is trying to fight against that bill because we're trying to usher in positive childhood experiences.
And that's important. That's important because you rarely hear people saying positive childhood experiences, right? And it's a game, but you hear them talking about ACEs, adverse childhood.
They talk about it all day,
time, right?
But you want to be proactive,
right? You know, it's really interesting. It's really interesting. The how hard. Okay, so let me tell y'all how this bill was moving. The bill passed out of the Children and Family Committee in the House, where I am, 7-1, only one no vote, right? Then the bill, as we're moving it, the Senate is moving it. Then the bill passed, passed out of the Senate with 7-1, if I'm not mistaken. And we're talking about conservative Republican members voting for this bill. Senator London Lamar made the most impassioned speech, for this bill, and for having fathers involved in their children's lives. And so you had 3 women in the Senate that voted for it out of that 7, and you had 3 more males that voted for it in the Senate, and you had one that didn't vote for it, and it passed, right? And that's an incredible statement being made. Now, when the bill is up in the full Judiciary Committee in the House where I am, right, and this is 1 day separation. It passes in the Senate, and then it's coming up in the House in the full Judiciary Committee, about 20 something members. Overnight, the Tennessee Bar Association's lobby kicked in so hard, I started getting phone calls left and right from these members that are on this committee who were open to support it and some who were supporting the bill, right? Who were my yes votes, right? Saying, hey, man, I'm getting calls from judges. I'm getting calls from lawyers, this, that, and other saying that I should not support this bill.
You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project.
And so that's when y'all hear people talking about special interests, this is what they're talking about, that lobbying effort. So, you know, it's a lot of money behind that stuff. And you think about this, right? One, why would you not want both parents involved in the child's life, right? And why would that not be in the best interest of the child? Number two, you just see this as an upside down triangle, right? You got mom, dad at the top, and you got child at the bottom. Mom and dad's line is broken because they're fighting or separating. But the line from the child to the dad is unbroken. The line from the child to the mom is unbroken. They have completely excluded the God-given right of that child to have access and relationship with both of his or her parents based on the fact that the parents are out of relationship. And they were trying to flip the argument on me saying, I'm putting the parents first versus putting the child first. Absolutely not.
No.
What you think about that? You were there.
I was flabbergasted, to be honest with you, when I heard that the representative said that we should start at zero. And that threw me off, because you're saying now that parents don't have any rights and they don't have any ability to actually support their children. They should start at zero and then work their way up. And so for me, I have a theory about this, and it may not be a correct theory, but I believe that a lot of times a lot of people are operating in the mindset that they want to have a treatment for it, and they can actually make money off the treatment, but the solution is not where they want to be. So you think about cancer treatment. There's a lot of money in cancer treatment.
Yeah.
But there's probably someone sitting up right now with a cure for it.
So
Just
basically,
like AIDS, you get paid off the money.
And I tell people all the time, there's a lot of money in calamities.
right. Oh yeah, people benefit. Well, you know, I always tell people there's profit in poverty. You know, it's a great possibility that a lot of these kids will end up further in poverty. There is there is profit in the judicial system. You know, these attorneys make money off of fathers or anybody fighting for the custody of their children, right? You know, because I found it interesting that the Bar Association, right? But there's also a history of policy in place from the federal level all the way down that pushes, you know, parents out of the lives of the children. And it started back in the 60s, right?
Welfare.
Yeah, the welfare laws, right? They said if you receive this, you cannot have a father in that household.
I have a question about the bill too. I'm sorry.
Don't forget your thought now.
Why can't it be 50? Okay, like it says, start at zero and build up. I feel like everybody, just like trust, everybody should, depending on who you are, should start on a level of trust. You discredit yourself. You shouldn't start at zero with no trust. But I know sometimes aren't like everybody's not like that. But why can't everybody start at 50-50? In case-to-case basis, like in your case, definitely 50-50, you know, 50-50. And then you go down percentage-wise based on not marking those boxes or disqualifying yourself on both ends, on women and men, because just because they're with the mom, sometimes it sounds crazy. Mom is not always the best fit. You think that because we carry them and all that, but we're not always the best. Women are not always the best solution. They're not. Sometimes they are best with dad. So
yeah, them women gonna come for you, Angelika.
It's the truth. I know some. I know some mamas right now who don't need their kids. But I'm sorry, that's just what it is. And 50-50 was in the bill, anywhere 50-50, and then you discredit. You know, you lose your credit.
That is the bill.
Let me. Did I?
Because maybe everybody, it makes it seem like everybody start off at 50-50, and 50-50 is just was whatever.
Right. So the deal is, and I think it's important. Maybe I forgot to define the presumption, right? So the bill language says this: it is a rebuttable presumption that it is in the best interest of the child to have both parents in the child's life, and with that, it says it is a rebuttable presumption that all custody hearings will start at 50-50, right? Now, let me explain what a rebuttable presumption is.
Thank you.
A rebuttable presumption is...
You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project.
So people know that.
Right. A rebuttable presumption is simply a starting place absent any evidence.
Yes.
Now, so let's be clear. So what that means is this is where the judge is going to start, and ain't nobody came in before him yet.
Yeah.
Right. Now, when they come in before him, the evidence changes the presumption.
Thank you.
So when the
Okay.
evidence is introduced, if there's evidence of abuse or this, that, and other, then the judge has the full discretion to go one way or the other way, or where they wanted to go, right? And so we didn't tie the hands of the judge. We didn't say, "Hey, judge, it's mandatory that they get 50-50 custody." It's, in fact, as a matter of fact, with if this law would have passed, I suspect there would hardly be even a huge bump in 50-50 custody or 50-50 shared parenting, right? Because, but what we're saying is, look, don't automatically start over here with the mom.
Yes,
like
please.
I think that's what happened with I wasn't. Let me rephrase it. I wasn't there. But don't automatically start over here with the dad. Some people said, "Well, that ain't gonna happen with the dad." Let me qualify that. And this is a scenario. Let's say, for instance, in East Tennessee, it is a county commissioner who is seeking custody of his child, right? As an elected official, you better believe he knows the judges, right? And so, and so when that custody hearing comes out and the judge just says, "Oh, well, he has the best, his situation is the best interest of the child," right? Without starting in the middle, it can sway the other way too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and so all we were saying is start in the middle, and as the evidence is introduced, then use that evidence, and they had to document it. Use that evidence and document why you veered away from the middle.
Thank you. Okay, that wasn't explained. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, that's something. Thank you.
Yeah. And what was surprising to me was when the lawyer from the Tennessee bar, he came up and he said that they were against it because studies have shown that if this bill was to pass, that divorces would decrease, and child abuse and abuse in marriages would decrease. And he said that was a bad situation to occur. But to me, that's a good thing. That if we are saving families and we are preventing abuse, then that should be the end goal. So I thought that was weird that he would actually go in that route saying that. Yeah, and that it was accepted. But sometimes when these things are being heard, is any excuse will do. Right? It doesn't matter what they say. They're already in a lot of cases set with how they are going to rule on this. But let me ask you this: as an educator, you've been a principal. You got how many years experience educating? 29 years. A long time. Okay. Tell me the difference that you see, because which children are come from a 2-parent household versus the children come from a single parent household. Yes. That's a huge difference in some cases. But we know that, just like in my case, my mother raised me by herself. And I think she did a pretty good job. But in a lot of cases, we need that support. We need that support of both parents. And we see those children who actually come to school and they have a lot of emotional deficiencies, behavioral deficiencies, and those things actually surface themselves in the classroom. And so just even on today, I had some situations where a student was having some issues in the classroom, and the first thing that he said was, "I haven't seen my father." And so that actually stood in my mind. I'm saying, "Wow, we were just fighting for this." And then today, it comes out, in a child saying that he wants his father. That's why he was misbehaving.
Can I say something about what you just said? But
yes.
I know somebody who personally says, you know how like when you get in trouble and you act up in class, like what you just said, they are known to call the dad.
All the time.
They seen a repetition, like, okay, let me show out because that's when my dad gonna show up. That's because they're like, I'm gonna send your daddy up there. You're gonna get your tail whooped or whatever. So they would act out. You'd be like, I don't know why they keep acting up. So I'm like, maybe they act up because they feel like that's the only time they see you. They're able to see you.
And that's true.
And they act up to get that attention. They're seeking attention, not just for anybody, but from their dad.
And they know that if they act up, he's gonna come there and actually have a connection with them. And so we have had situations like that. But I know that when you have two strong parents, and I can give evidence of that, we have fathers who are excellent in our program, and they're pretty consistent. They come to our Dinner for Dads program. They come to our Leader the Pack programs. They come to our Fatherhood Fridays. And I promise you, every one of those children that have those fathers that are actively involved in our program, they have no behavior issues. They on the honor roll, and they come to school every day.
Yeah.
And so it's a powerful piece. And I can even give you another example. We have Fatherhood Fridays on the last Friday of every month. And I know at my school, Valentine, where I'm the dean of students, on that Friday, we have less occurrences of behavior issues just because we have fathers out there greeting those kids in the morning time, shaking their hand, telling them have a great day. I'm glad to see you.
Valentine.
And when those kids come to our school, it just changed the whole atmosphere, even for the staff members when they see those fathers coming in. So having those fathers and that energy really makes a difference for those children, and it's viable.
Just having a man present in any environment makes a difference. Whether people want
good man.
Yeah, a man. I say a man.
Yeah,
It makes
good
a
man.
difference.
Man stuff.
Man, okay.
Man stuff. Hey, Antonio, as we wrap this up, tell people how they can get to Fathers First Memphis.
Okay, if you want to get involved in Fathers First Memphis, as I said before, we have a lot of things going on. We have our Dinner with Dads program. It's on the third Wednesdays of every month at Perkins on Poplar. We have our Fatherhood Fridays that occur on the last Friday of each month at our schools that we're supporting. We're going to have a big one at Valentine on the 25th of this month, and so forth. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can call 901-316-7772, or you can visit our website at www.fathersfirstmemphis.com. Or if you want to email us, you can email us at fathersfirst901@gmail.com. And so we have different ways to get in touch with us. If you want to visit us on Facebook, just go to Fathers First Memphis on Facebook. Reach out to us on Facebook. We have that as well. But we really want to garner this support so that we can actually build out and support Representative Parkinson as he moves forward with this bill again. As he told us the other day, we're not going to give up. We're going to continue to fight. And so we're going to need our army here in Memphis to come together and say, let's support this bill. And we need not just fathers, but we need mothers. We need grandfathers, grandmothers, aunts, uncles, cousins to come together to say, hey, let's make Memphis better and let's support this bill so that we can actually grow that. And also I want to just give another thing that we're actually doing with our organization. We have a diaper drive that we have a sponsoring right now. It's going to be ending at the end of May. As you all know, a lot of times diapers are a major purchase for fathers, especially fathers who are in need. I remember when I was a young father and I had to go buy diapers. I was going to Big Lots and everywhere I could get them, and so forth. And so we're going to be we're trying to get 10,000 diapers so we can build a diaper bank out and start having distributions for fathers who actually need them. So if you want to do that as well, reach out to us on all those different contact opportunities and let us know that you want to support. But we need your support, Memphis, and we want your support, Memphis.
Yeah,
thank you.
Y'all give it up for
Super
the
dope.
best father. Y'all give it up for Antonio Harvey in the building.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, y'all don't go anywhere because when we come back, we are going to talk to the doctor. She is a licensed clinical social worker who works with both children and adults and regularly, hears these cases. So don't go anywhere. The doctor is in the building. You hit that subscribe button. You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project.
Boss dripper like a broke faucet, diamond teeter, emanate glossing, project flossing, taking no lossing, ain't tryna go up that creek like Dawson, ain't no pausing, no stagnation, pockets on swole like pregnation, brand new house, brand new cars, I'm from the hood, gentrification, money flipper, straight go getter, I want the back and keep the liquor, partner strapped in, we never slipper, God gon' keep us, he gon' deliver, Pata, still on the money, the bag, some more and some more, my face on that flag, ew, still on the money, the bag, some more and some more, my face on that flag.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, this your boy, Pimp Type, MJG.
Yeah, man, and this your dog, Big Ball.
And y'all know what this is. This the Antonio Parkinson Project. You hear me?
You're watching the Antonio Parkinson Project.
Powered by Black Market Strategies.